Hello everybody and welcome to the finale, round 9 of FRL's Sprint Sunday. We have a mixed bag of qualifying, 3 tiers, all going at it for qualifying supremacy, followed by a 20-minute sprint race, followed by another 40-minute feature race. I am the Woofap, otherwise known as Greg. This is our second outing as a parent, and my co-partner in crime is Retro Ghost. How are you, buddy?
Very good. As always, absolute fantastic pleasure to commentate over the Sprint Sunday. Say debut race around the Nürburgring last week. Absolutely loved it, and so we've been given the absolute pleasure to be welcomed back this week. And so round 9, Watkins, Glen, the finale, 3 tiers, going to smash it out. But so whilst we do get underway for the qualifying, the drivers do set their laps, we do have 3 tiers fighting it out for the top spot. But say last week we did have Friedman has already won the championship, but say due to commentator blues, commentator debuts, we didn't know that Friedman had won it last week. So congratulations to Friedman, he has won the championship for his tier. I say the fight for P2 is still on between Grace and Clayton. 3 points separate P2 in this round 9 finale. So just to also read a little bit more stats, Luke Prentice and Masurat, Sharp and Horvath are 9 points apart in 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. In silver, D. Owls leads yours truly by 3 points. Both with similar drop rounds. Richings and Milniks can win, but requires double DNFs from Owls and Brown, which I don't think is going to happen. So Richings tongue caught already. Molnix and Grace separated by 10 points for 3rd. In Am, Davita has a 22-point lead to Denbrave. Mathematically, Volton can win to 47 points further back. Rogers and Serpentine are separated by a point for 6th.
Oh,
so
wow.
Very tight, spicy for the round 9 finale, Watkins Glen.
As we already have it, Volton and Rogers already hitting the 3rd and 4th position, being pushed down to just 4 and 5 with Cooters putting in a early effort. We've just been watching Skinker just go around, and he's put himself in P8. Those yet to set times in the AM class is Sproston, who just puts himself up into P5. Another one is Caldwell, who's just coming down the back straight now as he flies through the Le Mans curves. The first one much wider than the second. It's really slowed down as you go through the second apex of that chicane, as he now plunges down the hill. And he's going to find his braking point. Not too much in the way of braking references here, so you've got to be really careful. But this track does then reward you with a bit of inward-facing camber to then spit you back out and then back up the hill towards the toe. And you want to just feather your throttle around here, plant on the power. It's often a question whether you want to take... Oh, so he gets a bit snappy on the exit there. The Mercedes front end not wanting to really oblige with the steering inputs. And now tricky under braking as he heads downhill. The front goes light. He's trying... Well, I'm not sure anything's ever light in that Mercedes.
It's an absolute barge, that Mercedes, as he does come round the part of the track that's known as toe. Now going to open up that Mercedes into the boot straight. Now, as every toe and boot, there is a hill, and he's going to aim that Mercedes round the hill and hopefully get it legal on the tarmac, all over the curb in there, just to keep it as best he can.
And then he brings himself up into... Slowly comes the line, but P10 is what Colbert likes to sit. Mr. Friedman, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations. We're going to go on board with 269, Mr. Sproston, as he powers towards the line in another Mercedes, this one more in chrome than in the standard silver. As he picks himself up from P13 to P11. What are you laughing at, Retro?
I got mixed up with the Mercedes. I was on Sproston already, talk about the hill toe section, and you was on about the other Mercedes. Who let us in?
Who that was in there? 84. Right, 84. We're going to go with Cablo, who is just rounding the, I think it's at the boot section, as you've told me. As it that lovely, that's the Bentley, another big barge of a car, but this one is blessed with superb power. He's going to struggle to get the turn in here with that much weight on him, but then he will absolutely plant that dominating engine, which has only been challenged recently by the newly introduced Ford Mustang that's been given to the game, as he doesn't improve, stays P7. But what about Rogers in the heavily sponsored Sky Ferrari? As he gets a little bit snappy on exit there of the final turn. Can he improve as he gets to the line? And he does, all the way up to P3, putting himself only 3.5 tenths off the leader, De Vita. What about 71, Van der Waal? I think that's all his whole name. That's along the boxes. With the green, white and black of the McLaren. Looks absolutely menacing, that car. Is a fan favourite amongst the community. Drops himself up one space. Puts himself very close to the top fight battle. Drops himself underneath the second from the lead. Goes to P6. What about Mr. 269? Mr. Spross again. Since we saw him last time, he's round of the course again. And does he improve? He does not. Stays P14. About Haymans, I think is how he told us to pronounce it last week.
It was Haymans, yeah. Apologise for the butchery, but say Haymans does. Say come across the line, but say I'll stay on board with him for a little while, as he does dive down into the corner called the 90 of turn 1, getting that BMW fired towards the S's. This very lovely uphill section, this BMW using the absolute speed of a barge, that he just absolutely just leaves everyone for dust with that top speed. He's going to get it absolutely dialed in for this next tricky part, the inner and outer loop. He's going to spot his braking point. He's going to aim the car over the first curb in, over the second curb in. Very careful not to lose the car there.
He was a little bit so, wasn't he?
And so he was drifting away. So rounding the outer loop in that BMW, Haymans is going to look for his point into shoot, as they call it, like parachute. And say now in the tricky part of toe, it's downhill section, as you just said, very tricky to get the car turned in, and as uphill, this BMW's big beast of a car getting it turned round into toe. He's now going to get the power down on the bottom of the boot, using all of his boot to get that BMW fired towards the next corner. As all boots have, they have a hill. He's now going to get it turned round into hill, out of hill. So a couple of corners don't have a name here, but so I think this is turn 12, I believe. Turn 11, turn 12. He's now going to look towards turn 13. Very easy corner, so you can just lift and coast it. Oh, bit of a snap there. Trying to get that BMW fighting that barge, rounding the final corner. Is he going to improve on his time? At the moment, he's currently sitting P11.
There's a long drive to the line here, and he goes. No improvement,
but not quite an improvement though. But he does improve on his time.
We have Cablo coming to the final sector here. The black and green Bentley. This is not the best section for the Bentley here. He does get a bit of an advantage, as there is a long run to the black and white line. So he'll struggle through here, but once he gets that Bentley grunt down into the ground, he'll start to pull some time back. And it doesn't improve, stays P8 for now. Got number 33 of Volton going to cross the line, and he pips pole for now. As we've got Friedman dropping lots of comments in the chat. It's nice to see you being engaged. But he's told us that he's going to set a few laps, but he's not going to validate them. So where's our incentive as commentators? We want to see you do something blistering. We don't know if it's good or bad unless the time comes in.
Well, so it's all to play for, buddy, but I think now we're going to have a little bit of a crossover. The first tier are just coming to the end of their stint or the end of their times, and I think the next tier are raring to go.
Yeah, just as those pulled in, we had Rodriguez jump about 5 places to P8 in tier. We now go to the AM drivers. Let's see who have we got round first. Yes, we've got number 4, first one out of this tier, and that is the McLaren of G. Harvey.
I'm going to interrupt you there. The first car out was A. Eden in the 884 car, the 296 Ferrari. He's going to come around the start straight now. He did get a good exit. I don't know whether he's going to be itching to get a time done, but say he was the first car out. He's just started his lap down into turn 1, but say there's a big bit of traffic in front of him. I don't think he's going to affect him too much just yet.
I'd say if he gets around this lap like he got around his outlap, misplacing me, I'm sure he'll have a great one. Yeah. Oh, as we catch Eden, as we talk about avoiding dramas in the comments, Eden has found some dramas in the exit wall going up the hill, and back to the pits he goes. He'll get that repaired and he'll get back out again. So
yeah,
now,
back to what you said originally. Harvey is the first car in the tier to set a lap.
So I think he's not even started his lap yet, and we've still had enough time for Eden to take his car for some extra repairs. As this blue and
nice looking McLaren from Harvey there comes round the final corner.
So yeah, long straight this one, but then it'll plummet downhill into the first turn. You can take a lot of track limits on the outside, but it's your traction. Oh, he gets a little bit loose on the rear. And thank you, Mr. Friedman, for your for your vote of support.
So they do have the car 41 behind. I hope that didn't impede or slow him down, trying to ease off if an incident did happen in front of him. It looked like he didn't have too much involvement. So going around turn 1 practically sideways, might have a new change pair of underwear.
So we'll go on board with that 41 because he is going to catch him pretty quickly. That's Mulnick's. The question is, has he already had to back off in accounting for the car of who are we on board with? Of Harvey, wasn't it?
Molnick's behind. Molnick's needs an absolute sterling performance. As I did mention earlier, in the silver tier, D Owls leads by 3 points. Both with similar drop rounds. Richlings and Molnick's can win, but requires double DNS from Owls and Brown. Richlings, Molnick's and Grace separated by 10 points for third. So it's all fairly close this final round, the fight for the last spot on the podium for the championship.
So yeah, Molnick's will be hoping for the good fortune that he's just had in qualifying there with Harvey recognising that he was slowing and he was just let through at the optimum time. As Molnick's looks to push forward here, P1 is in sight, he's 8 tenths down at the moment. What can he do? Puts himself up into P3, nearly 4 tenths down on the pole from the tier below so far. It does look like this track is getting a bit darker, Retro. Do you reckon that's going to affect the tiers and how they mix up?
I think you very might be right there, buddy. So just looking at the track status at the moment in this qualifying session, the circuit is only green, so it's not quite optimum yet. So lap times may be a little fluctuating somewhere. Let's say green status isn't the best status. We want optimum. We want lap times, we want it thick, we want it fast, we want it all over, but unfortunately green is not the place to be. Optimum is where it's at.
We don't want green unless you're a sheep.
Whee!
So we're going to go back on board with Harvey because he was quite far down on that lap. We want to see that the sportingness rewarded well. And thank you everybody that's tuned in so far. We do see you 10 sitting, watching and waiting for some action as it stands. Let us know what you think. Who's gonna take the championships that are still to play for, or who do you reckon is going to blister it in qualifying and maybe falter slightly in the race?
I did just flick onto Eden there after bad commentator's curse. He does put himself provisional P2. Just a 10th under from G Brown.
Yeah, G Brown has very quietly put that timing in the Bentley.
Yeah, that Bentley barge doing bits.
As we're still on board with Harvey, I think has got a lot more to offer here. And McLaren very, very settled around the more twisty sections of the track. They don't have the outright top end speed, but knows how to put it down as he does go. P15 for now, takes a second off his time.
So we did have Richlings go P9 behind, just under 9/10 from the provisional pole time, where he's got a little bit of time there, or maybe so the McLaren in front did hinder him.
Yeah, so the G Brown was pole until Molnix has only just taken that off him by 13 thousandths of a second, so really, really tight at the top there.
But in all honesty though, fair play to G Brown for using that Bentley. I don't think I see that many people using the Bentley anymore. It used to be such a household favourite, the Bentley, but then the McLaren and the Ferraris and even the BMW took over. I think even the Mustang might take over when a few setups start getting dialed in and the meta starts being found, but say, don't really see the Bentley anymore.
No, it's often favoured by those that can manage a difficult car but then can really maximise the power that it does hold underneath the bonnet. As we speak of him, he has crossed the line, hasn't improved as of yet. Maybe waiting for a bit more fuel to burn down as he sees out the last minute and a half of this Tiers session. Hunt is still sitting in the pits. He's not in the hunt right now. We've got...
So just have Eden just go under a tenth behind G Brown, P3. Not quite sure whether that was an improvement or the same time.
So
we
we've got...
have car 41 just rounding the final corner.
And he doesn't seem to put any daylight just yet, has he? No improvement as of yet. We do have Graf now finally finishing his lap. Half a second down at the moment. Power towards the line. Rear-engined, rear-wheel drive Porsche puts himself in P4. Great effort at the last. Just pipping Hunt over there. Yet.
Mickelson, is he going to improve? P16 at the moment. That stays the same. I think he's just going to start a lap. Car 134's on an out lap because their dot is blue.
884. Eden is trying around again in this very, very spicily coloured Ferrari. Don't often see neon green with black with red. It's bold, I'll give him that.
And so as the saying goes, it may look good on track, but does it look good in the wall though? I say that because I drive a 296, so I can say it. Because my 296 spends most of the time in the wall.
Oh, speaking of Ferraris going in walls, it was like Eden just having a little bit of a taste of that one himself. But even with that,
he does take pole. Good lad.
You just take some notes, Retro. Maybe you can use walls a bit better like Eden.
Yeah, use the wall a bit more as the good TV programme back in the day. Bring on the wall!
Bring on the wall. And we've got Mulnix, going to be one of the last few to come around this last lap.
So I think, yeah, the next tier might be itching and raring to go shortly. We do have Molnix using as much as a legal curbing as he can and the track limits.
I think he had to get out the power there as he came out the corner. G Brown is still out there. I can't tell if he's...
Oh, Harvey's just pushing. Gone for a... speaking of walls, he's just gone into one.
Yeah, I saw him almost disappear from the sat-nav there.
We do have the first car of the third tier, is it? I'm going to probably butcher this. Omran in the Porsche, car number 814. Very gorgeous looking Porsche. Very nice, interesting colour design and layout.
Quite vintage. I'd go as far as to say that's vintage. Especially with the white wheel rims.
Well, you may be showing their age there, buddy.
Oi.
So as we have Omram coming down into turn 1, as formerly known as the 90, getting that Porsche turned in very nicely, using all of the curbing on the exit, getting that Porsche fired through into the S's. So I love this uphill section of Watkins Glen, very power hungry part of the track. Separates the men from the boys and the toys.
Yeah, definitely one. If your car is compliant, it's wonderful. It's almost like going up a Rouge in Spa, but if it's not, you've got, unlike a Rouge in Spa, you've got a wall waiting for you on either side. It can be it can really be a brown pants moment But Omran has navigated through it well, and he is now plunging downhill into this on camber section.
Get that Porsche turned in for the shoot. Now he's going to look for toe this downhill section corner to an uphill right-hander. Very easy to lose the car there, depending on the setup. Keeping that Porsche planted. Had a little bit of a wiggle, shaking his butt for the camera. Omram's now going to fire that Porsche down the boot. And as I've always said, the boot must have a hill. He's now going to get that Porsche turned in for hill. So turn 11. Round in turn 12 with tricky left-hander.
Yeah, can be very tempted to take the inner curbing there just to try and shorten the line through, but he's stayed away from it and he's kept his tyres on the asphalt. Make sure you keep your car nice and stable. Get on the rumble strips, that's fine. Go out wide, try not to lose the rear as you go into entry. Power down. That Porsche looks absolutely planted. But what would you expect with a car that looks like it's about 50% spoiler? And up he goes into P15, a decent sight lap. We've got P20 crossing the line now, where they put themselves. And that was Grace starting off well, a man who's in a championship fight for P2 in this tier, showing good signs to begin with, but there's still more time to find. Now Clayton, number 500, is not going to have to go 500 miles to find a time. He doesn't. He goes P4. What's 2:08? Let's start that up at 9:45. We'll go to Huguenot. If someone would like to correct me the pronunciation of that name in the comments, I'd be much appreciative, as I'm sure this gentleman will be. But no, super critical final turn, trying to make sure that you are not losing the front or the rear. Both can easily be done, and there's a water collection on the outside which he avoids. To the line, fires himself up the leaderboard to P10.
So just as this final tier gets their qualifying sessions in, so the track is still green, but say for the pro tier, Freeman has already won the tier. Massive congratulations to him. So we didn't give him the spotlight that he deserved after a stellar performance last week, but unfortunately got taken up by a back mark as we couldn't take the full house. And so great result for him, but say it does spice up for P2. 3 points separate Grace and Clayton for P2. 3 points in it. Luke Prentice, Masurat, Sharp and Horvath on 9 points apart for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. So we will try to keep an eye on all the battles in the tiers. I say it does spice up round 9. Watkins, Glen, it's all to play for.
But speaking of Grace, there he goes. He's finally found the incentive in his tier. Goes P1 over the rest. And Prentice, who's still due to find some time, throws himself up the ladder, but only to P18. He's going to need a bit more than that. Second down from his competitor. 9:45. As is Huguenots coming through the final sector. Not looking like he's risking too much on the second to last corner, but then getting a little bit loose on the final. Gets a little bit of a tap of the wall in this chrome McLaren. Fires himself forward, doesn't improve. Yeah, that final sector just didn't look quite as controlled as others have been through there.
Well, welcome to the stream, Hunty. Let us know who do you think's going to win it, bin it and spin it in the comments. And so we would love to get your opinion and your take on the drivers tonight. But so if you haven't already, make sure you do like and smash that subscribe button for the stream and show that we can take this commentating on a Sunday to a whole new level. It's an absolute pleasure to commentate over on a Sunday.
Oh, I wonder if we commentator curse him, if that will cancel out the negativity he's just thrown on himself.
I don't think we've got the authority for that, big man.
You called it in a moment last race.
I think the power here is too strong, Anakin. I don't think we can do that. A double curse to lift it, I don't think so.
So as we just go around the final corner, we're picking up another Ferrari of Clayton. He's gone towards the line, has gone pole. He's found 4 tenths over Grace. This battle for P2 in the championship in the pro tier is really, really heating up. That is quite a margin for Grace to find. Grace, who, if he's listening to the commentary, is really throwing it into the corners now. Bit of a slide going through the chicane. Takes a late apex down the hill. Oh, has he gone wide? Surely that's invalid. But we're going to see the conclusion of this lap because this is where the fight is. Grace clearly throwing.
Q not there, coming around the final corner, just unfortunately just spins it towards the line, so he's going to jump back to the pits.
Yeah, he's got maybe just about enough time if he runs out right now. Maybe put another lap in, but it'll be really, really tight. But here we're on board with Grace, who I think is just warming up his tyres for another attempt now. Not sure he's still pushing on this lap. 814, where are you? Who are you? Omran just seems to be at the finish line every single time I click on him. With his toy car wheels as he heads towards the line. Doesn't improve again. I think the track is proving rather difficult. But back on board with Grace, he finally does come to the line. Yeah, no improvement there. I think he invalidated. But he'll go again.
Behind him, coming around the final corner.
Oh, it's a big clatter.
Smack into the wall.
But what does that mean for him? He finds another 10th.
He does improve, but that could have hurt his time.
So, Grace, with a bit of grace given by Clayton, will that mistake allow him to find 6 tenths as opposed to 7 that he might have needed if Clayton had held it together? Oh no, as Grace goes off, that's it. That's his qualifying over. What about Sharp?
Oh, that's unfortunate, buddy, but say good luck for the race. And so I'm sure we'll have an absolute blast commentating, as always, over you guys. Would say do make sure you do watch it afterwards and get involved. Obviously, just don't text and drive, of course, for legal reasons.
And we have Gabor rounding the heel up the hill. Or that boot. You have to correct me. You've seen the track map.
That actually is a corner with no name.
That's the corner name.
But this is turn 13, the final corner, as Gabba does get that Ferrari powered towards the start straight, towards the timing line. P9
to P4.
P4, great improvement there from him. Who do we have behind? Car number 500.
That's Clayton.
Ferrari, it is. Currently sitting on a 1 minute 45.3. Can he improve? Rounding turn 11. Now going to fire it towards the lovely lift of turn 12. Just a nice little lift and coast of this track. Now turn 13. Oh, big drift. He didn't hit the wall this time, but he Tokyo drifted it. Vin Diesel's going to phone him up for a job.
He doesn't find any more time, but coming up behind, number 37 of... We've got to find them. Where are they gone? And that was Gabor crossing the line in P5. Oh, missed a few. But there you have it, guys. Clayton does put a very respectable... Oh, Sharp, actually. Sharp managed to pick P2 from Grace. That's who we missed. Beat him by only about a hundredth of a second over Grace. So fantastic last gasp effort there. So we've got Clayton beating Sharp, beating Grace, and then Eden in the next tier down, followed by Gabor, Mornix, G Brown, Gaffer, Hunt, Vlotten, De Vita, Huguenot, Umran, Prentice, Van der Waal, Denobri, Rogers, Riching, Harvey. They're brave round at the top 20. Then we have Filomeno, Skinker, Horvath, Thacker, Mitchelson, Rodriguez, Cablo, Robert, Couters, Haymans, Colpitt, Trotman, Throston, and Caldwell with those who set time. Owls, Rivera, Serpentine and Friedman electing not to set times. Friedman told us before the session he's not set a time on the basis that he wants a challenge. There's nothing left to play for in the championship for him, so he is going out to have some fun.
So it's all to play for there. So as I did mention, say in the difference of the tiers, Sharp slipping that front row spot at the end of qualifying just to keep his championship chances alive in this round 9 finale. Watkins, Glen. And so Sharp is in a 4-way battle, say 9 points apart. P5, P6, P7 and P8. So all to play for, and say him starting P2 is going to keep his chances well alive. So just having a good look through the order here. Say very nice times, respectable times between all the drivers. Very tight, close driving. We will try to cover absolutely every angle we absolutely can. And say there's 35 drivers, 2 of us. So give us a break. So I believe it's a 20-minute race first, I believe.
That is correct. You've read the notes.
Is it checking?
So just for those who are getting used to our style of commentary, we are still working with proprietary equipment, no keyboard as of yet, but with controller. I'm going to momentarily drop into drive so we can get the camera angle you will want, or if it's carried through, I'm not too sure. I think it might have done actually. That's good. But if it doesn't, we will be momentarily slipping into drive and then back out again, just so you can get the camera angle that covers all of the action. But no, I'm looking forward to this one. It's quite a tricky turn one. Well, the turn one isn't so tricky. You do have the option to go out wide, but depending on how many people do go out wide, that then quite a pinch for turn 2 up the hill. I've had many an incident going through there. As we've just watching the drivers jump up and down as they are excited to start the race, but crucially, putting the correct amount of fuel in their car, maybe making minor adjustments to their setup, so they're ready and raring to go. I don't believe we have too much in the way of changeable weather. The track has warmed up marginally since the last session. We're now from green to fast, so we should have some very aggressive driving on display as the drivers have been given slightly better conditions than they did in qualifying. And we're hoping the drivers aren't looking in the rearview mirrors at that banner that says "Go Bowling."
Yeah, especially not for turn 1. I don't think so. I think if it was history to repeat itself, I think last week in the first race round the Nürburgring, turn 1, that tricky Yokohama S, say 21 cars were already in an incident before turn 1. So hopefully Watkins, Glen, the 90-degree bend is going to be a bit more easier on the cars and the drivers. So hopefully we're all going to skate round in one piece.
So just like the game has given me a reasonable camera angle, so we're going to stay with it here at Watkins Glen.
30 seconds.
As we count down, we're going to have a full formation lap. And then the drivers are going to form up 2 by 2 like they're going into the Noah's Ark, but they're not. They're going to turn 1. And they're going to try and get to the side all hunky-dory. And then we've got 20 minutes of sprint racing, fuel to enjoy, and all these guys to sweat about. I do apologise if you hear a few coughs or splutters coming from myself during the stream. I'm trying to fight off a cold, but I'm here for you.
Oh, and a few drivers not ready up.
Oh, that's no. So that's Hunt. That is Sproston. They're Hunt and Sproston.
Yeah, so we have the Mercedes car 269 in the pit lane, didn't ready up. Who was the other car we did see in there? Yeah, Mr. A. Hunt, car 89 in the McLaren, too busy talking on the stream and not pressing that button. So he did just comment in the stream, actually, funny enough, folks. Game wouldn't let me press drive. That's unfortunate, buddy. And so it's Watkins, Glen, you should catch up fairly easy. And so we do have the feature race to follow after this as well. So keep your head down. You can Bring it back, dude. So just flicking through the pack and say some gorgeous liveries from the driver's side for this round 9 finale. So maybe they spiced it up a bit just to give a good show for the people at home. Just whilst they do make their way round the inner and outer loop of Watkins Glen. I think I'm starting to see a pattern of favourite colours in this.
There's a lot of
circle.
black, white, and red, isn't there?
There's quite a lot of green as well.
Oh yeah.
Just flicked onto Jay Prentice there in the Aston Martin with a green and pink Aston Martin. Car 678 there. So behind him in a green McLaren, we've now got Van der Waal. So apologies for if we are butchering your name, dude. But so we can't see all of your name because you're just that awesome. You've got so many of them. and then behind Van der Waal, we've then got a green Bentley. So there's 3 green cars in a line, followed by a Sky Ferrari. And then similar sort of colours, a black and I think a yellow and a pink Porsche from L. Richings there. Very nice colour combo. Oh, there's a green BMW, a green Ferrari. So 2 drivers to start from the pits in this 20-minute race opener of this evening. And Friedman, our Pro Championship winner, starting from the back of the grid.
And he's already doing well, he's already picked up 2 positions. That's pro, that. As we navigate just the final 2 corners.
Badged on the back of the car, mate. It's pro for a reason. It's like putting M Sport badges on a non-BMW.
As Clayton now backs them up. Tries to catch as many people out as he can. He wants a clear run through this, as it looks like he's about to file them all into the pit lane. And in just a moment we are going to get 5 green lights and we are going to be go. As we see Hunt and Sproxton somberly sat in their pit box, and away we go.
Well, we got Grace trying to grind against the pit wall there into turn 1 to try and get a move.
Oh, as we have taps in the back.
Oh, we've got Eden and
Mulnix.
Mulnix and Eden. We've got Grafe also involved in that as well. That's S Grafe, not M Grace. Bit of a tongue twister there.
Clayton does seem to have got away well. Sharp following him, followed by Grace. Grace getting a good run here, but I don't think it's going to get quite close enough. Sharp goes a little bit defensive.
Oh, there's a car facing the wrong way already.
Oh, there's one cutting through the chicane.
Yeah, we've got Trotman trying to cut across the chicane, but got defeated by an impassable barrier. Loads of cars off here at the chicane.
I think they've made the assumption that those barriers are movable, and they're just not.
Yeah, cars
they're there to
everywhere
stay.
at the minute. Careful on the rejoins, lads.
As I think the timer screens have gone a bit haywire. But Clayton still ahead.
So Friedman has moved up the places already. P25. So P27, it's jumping a little bit due to the sectors. Just updating, but say he's made massive advances already.
Whilst
His
we
car
are
does
just
look battered from the rear.
Whilst we are just waiting for the time screens to fix themselves, I'm just going to quickly jump and correct the camera. Got all night to get this right. There we go.
And so we've got M Grace hot on the heels of A Sharp. Looked for a move into turn 1 but didn't quite get it there. And G Brown also trying to close in on Gabba. So everyone's all close.
Further back, we've got De Beryl, very, very close to Omran. He doesn't look like he's had the best drive out the first corner. De Beryl closing all the time, electing to not go over the marbles, but it does now. That Bentley's found its grunt. It's picking up some bit slipstream from the Aston Martin ahead. Can he go late on the brakes? He does not. He has to back out. As Omran quickly finds a way to scamper away. And I think De Beryl has scrubbed up his tyres a bit there.
Oh no, there's a BMW. Oh no, carnage again in the chicane. I think a BMW got tapped. Q Roberts was also involved in that. D Owls was involved. Another BMW was also involved. Didn't quite see who that was. I think that was Hyman's. Yeah, Hyman's also involved in a collision in the outer loop.
Now Hyman's
was just trying to go side by side.
Now Hyman's got a lot of defending to do. He's got the Mercedes of Coldo up his inside. He's still there. He's going to take the place. He gets a little tap to the rear as he takes it. Hyman's is really, really limping now. He's backing off. Absolute disaster for Hyman so far. Got Owls coming up through the pack as well. He's ahead of Hyman's.
Yeah, you just need to wait for these sector times to update. And say, because the driver behind who you think you're watching isn't the one who's actually there.
Sorry, Retro, we're going to have to cut him because it looks like Gabor's going to take a lunge against Grayson to turn one. It backs out. The last minute, has that affected Grayson's entry into the next corner? It has marginally. He's out on the marbles. He's over the curb. Can Gabor collect it up together to get a drive up the hill? According to these sector times, it's shown that Clayton has lost the lead. But I don't think he has.
So
I know he has.
Just taken the fastest lap.
What's happened to Clayton? He's now down in 4th. Something absolutely dreadful has happened to Clayton there. As G Brown is getting dived all over. Volton, sorry. And that's the Porsche of De Vita having to now defend against Huguenot. Huguenot getting a much better entry here. But then it looks like De Vita's getting the better drive away.
Oh, we've got Cadwell going for a slip and a spin over the grass. Got Friedman trying to chase down Serpentine round the outer boot into shoot. He's going to go for an inside dive.
Oh,
he taps him there.
I don't think that was quite on. I know he's only got 20 minutes to make an impact in this race, but needs to take his chances a little bit smarter than that. As here he goes down the inside now. He's got a bit more of a run. They have a much more incentive to get down the inside here. But the BMW is pulling ahead slightly, but no, Friedman with the better position on track, with better traction, got through.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I've just pressed the button to mute it.
But here comes Clayton looking to reclaim what's his. Gabor is ahead of him. He's closing back already. Down the 3/10 is the gap.
We've got a ball with Grace trying to look for a move on sharp in the S's. He's definitely got the drive and the slipstream to the chicane. He's going to get a move done. The fight for P1. Grace has got the fastest lap from Friedman at the moment. He's going to try diving inside late on the brakes.
Gets it done. Brilliant. But further
just
back,
about flicked in.
Clayton almost got the move done on Gabor as well, just in the background of the shot there. But had to back out. Didn't quite have the run that that Sharp did. We've got De Vita very, very close on the back of Volton.
So we've literally got Hugo not behind De Vita, pushing that Porsche. So under braking, the Porsche does get a bit of a gap behind him, but Hugo Not's just closed that door massively.
Oh, as he gets on the grass and loses a fair bit of time there.
Naughty, naughty. So we've got Omram looking for a move into turn 10. Oh, he hits the back of Jay Prentice in that green and pink Aston Martin.
And that's allowed De Vita back into it.
Keeps it very legal. We've got a car of M. DeBell.
I'm going for DeBell.
There was a little bit of flash in there. Maybe he's not happy with something that's just gone on track.
And De Burl looking to push on. He's been knocked back from this battle a little bit, but with the power of that Bentley, especially on this straight, it will close up nicely.
Yeah, the power of that Bentley is just unreal. We do have, speaking of Bentleys, G Brown under threat from Volton in P6.
Yeah, he's providing quite the slipstream for those behind him.
So we do have De Vita also joining the back of this fight for P5. Huguenot has dropped off just slightly.
De Vita having a little look on Volton as he entered the chicane.
Quite a few speeding in the pit lanes I see at the bottom of my screen.
Now Friedman's got a little bit of a way to go before he catches his next one, but we'll make sure to check in with him as he moves through. It's like De Vita has just backed off a little bit on Volton. Maybe getting caught up in the wash. A few too many reactive braking manoeuvres. Bentley do surprisingly well in this section with G Brown, the tight, twisty section.
Yeah, for a car that big, he's doing very well in that Bentley.
Question is what happens when the tyres start to strain, start to rubber up. But so far it looks like Volton is the one at risk. He goes wide and over the marbles, but then collects it well.
But say track has now gone optimum, so those tyres are going to start hopefully doing a little bit of magic for these drivers. So track has gone optimum. Didn't quite do it in the qualifying session, but say in the race is absolutely fantastic to see.
So we've got the very, very light green of Prentice leading quite a tight battle behind of Omran and De Burl. It just doesn't seem to have the power in that Aston Martin. Look how much Omran is closing into the braking. All cars looking like they've adjusted their setup appropriately. Not many drivers getting caught out by the bumps of going past the end of the rumple strip after turn 1. But Omran has got such a great run here. He's tucked himself up into the slipstream of Prentice. Prentice goes defensive, goes over the marbles. Will Omran take a late dive with his all 4 tyres on the asphalt? He chooses not to. Prentice goes defensive over the curbs once again, and this is unsettled Omran. But he's still right there. So many cars looking to join in on this battle. Van der Voel, Rogers, Richings, glinting in the setting sun.
Got Dial's going for a bit of a slip and slide over the grass there in P19. He's just let both Mulnix and Grafe off. Oh, then who was that? There's another car that's just gone onto the grass. Can't keep up quick enough. All the drivers going for a spin and a dip on the grass. 884.
And that was Eden. And behind him, Trotman with a 30-second stop and go. But now Gabor on sharp. 3.5 tenths is the gap as he comes onto the next lap. But they're going to be fairly evenly matched, these Ferraris. Setups aside. They can see Grace there, who's just holding them at arm's length in the Porsche. The Porsche, I must say, has been looking the most controlled car this evening.
Yeah, very dialed in, that Porsche. Speaking of Porsches, we did just have Omram in P10 look for a move on Jay Prentice down the start straight once again.
But he's getting caught by De Burl. De Burl is super close. De Burl just hasn't lifted the throttle here. He might have to lift off slightly because he's going to run into the back of Omran if he's not careful. But now Omran has opened up the gap. But he's going to close the door at the last minute as he still stays engaged with Prentice. Very well done.
Drivers come around the outer loop part of the track. Very key to keep that car as stable as you can. Very easy to lose a rear end there. So I don't think that's a problem for a big beast of a Bentley.
So I've just seen the ball get very close to Sharp here. Oh, as he gets a big snap on the toe, and that allows Clayton up alongside, but he's going to be on the outside for the next turn. Gabor goes onto the marbles. Can Clayton get this done? He does have a full car length ahead, and he does pull ahead well. Great opportunist move there by Clayton, but this does now stretch this top 4 pack. But what does that mean for G Brown, who just seems to be leading his pack for P5? Behind him with that Bentley that's just not behaving itself on some of these corners.
So we've got DeVita all over the back of D. Volson there in turn 13. Dipped off a little bit towards the start straight as he was practically pushing that Ferrari around. Very dialed in, that Porsche on this circuit. Great speed, great cornering.
As he goes wide. Oh, and who's that?
Jinx it then.
Multiple cars going slowly after the first turn.
There's a car just trying to rejoin. There's a lapped car, I believe, car 89.
That was 246 that was going slowly.
Yeah, Trotman, I think he just came out the pits. He's currently in P32 after a bit of an incident with a few other drivers, I think, in that chicane earlier.
So this is a great battle that keeps developing lap on lap. Prentice versus Omran. Omran is having such a great drive in the first sector. But then Prentice just comes back in this infield section as he goes down towards the toe. Many big wings being run this evening. But Omran closing once again. If he can hold it on the exit, he might have a chance starting the next lap. Prentice goes defensive. Omran looking like he's going to try a slip around the outside. Does well to keep up the speed despite dipping a wheel off track. Oh, as he sees an opportunity up the inside. It doesn't look like Prentice has seen him coming. Prentice onto the rumple strip and through goes Omran. Using the back marker to best effect. Omran goes through.
A great tactical bit of play there from a back marker. So the back marker's doing their best to get out of the way, but so you can cheekily use them for a quick leapfrog in a position as well. Not quite sure what Rogers is doing here. Quite dangerously going slow.
Rogers being a lap down.
So just looking at the apex and the turning point on the inside line, so trying to do his best, but so just trying to keep it as clean as he can.
But as Rogers slows down, Friedman speeds up. Through goes Friedman. I don't think they quite realise that this is for position. He's not lapped down to Friedman.
Ooh,
but there's a lot of close contact here.
There.
Friedman might get a few on this straight. He's already taken one. He has to get out of the throttle for the second. It looks like Rogers is defending very strongly. That's Graf, sorry. But then in aggression, Graf then flicks the rear out. Collecting the rear of one of these Porsches is not easy. But out he goes onto the marbles and through goes Friedman.
On the inside, yeah. So down into shoot. Next target is Horvath.
So Friedman, now having pulled back the 3-second gap he had to the next car, is now picking up car after car. The pro champion carving through these positions. But I'd like anybody who's listening to the stream, fight him tooth and nail. Want to see him work for it.
Speaking of tooth and nail, I have seen Gabba in P4 close the gap to M. Grace. He's now just over 2.5 temps to P3.
Yeah, these guys in P1 to 4 only occasionally changing positions so far this race. But Sharp doing very well. Converting what is a P2 so far into a win in this first sprint. Clayton not quite getting together what he had originally in qualifying. Grace getting very comfortable going into the chicane, but then just losing a little bit to Clayton on the exit.
So speaking of Friedman, just watched him down the start straight into turn 1. So it looked like he was essentially bump drafting with Horvath there.
But Graf's coming back.
He's got a great run on him.
Does he dare? He does!
Oh, he does. Can he keep it legal? Yes, he can.
Wow, great move. I think he heard the commentary. He said he heard go for it. And he went...
There was an Aston Martin there.
Presuming that's lapping traffic.
Yeah, it's Rivera down in P36, unfortunately.
Oh, as the Porsche covers the apex very, very sharply. That's that's Hovarth, followed by Graf, followed by Friedman.
Oh, you see the difference in the setups of the Porsches. All the Porsches are having a big snap and a slide there in that uphill right-hander. But we've got Friedman electing to go round the outside of Grafe, giving Grafe the inside lines. He's going to look for a switch back here. No, he's going to fight him to the absolute legal amount of curb.
Oh my goodness, I don't think that was
there.
overly legal. Really took him to the cleaners on the grass there. He said, snip my grass. Further up we've got De Vita. Very, very close on Volton on the timing screens, but dropping a little bit back as he goes through the first turn. So I can't help but notice that Clayton
left of this session.
Yeah, and Clayton has found half a second on Sharp here as it comes to the final lap of the race. Clayton maybe just saving his tyres. Not taking too much out, biding his time. Multiple tenths being found throughout this lap.
Ooh, weird Richlings there going for a big bouncy castle over the second chicane or second bump in the chicane there.
So Clayton really turning up the wick now.
But Clayton does currently have fastest lap.
Taking it off Friedman, he won't be happy about that. So showing both sectors, it's showing that Clayton is down, but he certainly looks a lot closer to me than he has been.
He definitely does. So he's nearly on the back of the Ferrari coming round, so turn 12. And so we're going to see one more lap. Well, this is going to be it. I'm pretty sure there's going to be it for race 1, but we'll soon find out as they cross the timing line. Is there going to be one more lap? Final lap this lap, so Clayton's got it all to play for now. He's still got fastest lap as it stands, round in turn 1.
As he does make a bit of a weak send into turn 1, that's not going to be enough. Concentrate on your exits until you know you can make the move. Has he found any speed up the hill? Marginally, but there's still a lot of lap left to go. 3.5 tenths is the gap.
With a big slip from Jay Prentice there into turn 1. Dybel? What did we say it was again? I'm butchering this every time I have to think about it before saying it. In the Bentley, getting a great closing of the gap that was formed between the Aston and the Bentley. So it just gives a good amount of space there for the chicane. Great respectful driving there.
So it's just still on board with Clayton and Sharp. Any opportunity presents itself into these final bends, I'm sure Clayton will be all over it, but it looks like Sharp is holding a very, very composed race together. It just doesn't look like Clayton's got an answer for the other Ferrari in the lead. There's going to be only a couple more opportunities here. If he can throw anything together, half a second is the gap.
Well, you got Rogers trying to overtake Friedman there. Towards the back.
So Clayton as close as he has been, only a couple of car lengths, but the final turn will come. Clayton does get a drive though, look at this. He's super close, he's going to pick up a draft, and he's going to power it to the line. Will he make it? Oh, only a car length in it. And Grace seemingly does get Gabor at the end there. I don't know what's happened. What about Friedman? I'm sure he's been in the wars. There's another car ahead of him. He's pushing super hard. If he comes around, will this be another one who gets the slipstreams to the line? He pulls out, goes to the marbles, and takes a solid P20 from last place. We have other drivers retiring a couple of laps down. I think Cablo is our last driver on the lead lap. No, actually it's not. Michelson, But Caldwell. But no, what an eventful first race. A lot of drivers really struggling with the first sector. A lot of people dropping back who maybe would have hoped a lot more for themselves.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate. So Watkins, Glen, that chicane, the inner and outer loop, very easy to upset the car, collect someone else, or be collected by someone else's incident. Say big accidents. What I could see, multiple car pile-ups. I'm pretty sure the stewards are going to be busy after this evening. But say there, we have the leaderboard for the session.
So yeah, we have Sharp finding a great win over Clayton in the end. He maximised that P2 start into a win over Clayton, who will take home the fastest lap for that session. Grace, who's doing a great job for his championship fight, still keeping it on the podium for the sprint race, followed by Gabor. G Brown way out ahead of his tier in P5, winner of his tier, followed by Volton, winner of his tier, only just edging DeVita to the line. Huguenot, a fair bit off the rest of his tier. The top four drivers really did escape him. We've got Omran and Prentice, who put up a good fight during that race. Del Burl in P11, followed by Richings in P12, and G Harvey close off that tier in the middle section there. Van der Wilt, followed by Stink, Mulnix, Rodriguez, Hovarth, and Friedman, who didn't quite get around to overtaking. Oh, no, he got one of the drivers, Filomeno, who I imagine had an incident to fall that far down. But no, good positions made up nonetheless. And there are the rest of your finishes, with Thacker being 10 laps down. He must have quite the incident to fall that far back. As we wait for the drivers to make the amendments necessary after they drop into race 2, which is going to be 40 minutes of non-stop action. Thank you for those that have stuck it out with us in the stream. I understand with a few things already being decided, we may have less here than usual, but thank you for those who have turned up.
So round 9, Watkins, Glen, as I said quite earlier before, so the championship fight between all three tiers is just getting more and more spicy. So Sharp and Clayton, Grace, Gabba, I think are all in a very good respectable fight for the championship. Top runners, P3 is up for grabs, P2 is also up for grabs because obviously Friedman, the absolute beast, has won the championship from his end. So P1's already signed, sealed and delivered. P2 and P3 are still up for grabs. This second race of Watkins Glen, round 9.
So yeah, plenty of drivers there doing fantastically well to put good points on their championship fight, with Grace popping it in P3. Then further down, it was Prentice, who I believe was looking for some championship success.
And there we have it. We just loaded into the race 2 lobby. And so 3-minute timer has just kicked off. So don't go anywhere, folks. Make sure you grab a cup of tea, grab a beverage, grab some snacks. We're going to kick off a 40-minute race in this session. And I do see on the weather grid, 30 minutes time, there could be a sign of rain.
Oh, what a way to spice things up. Will that maybe have made anybody want to maybe take some fuel out of their cars? Because they can refuel at the pit stop, get on wet tyres. That might be really some to aim for.
Refueling doesn't add or take away any time. I'm sorry, add any extra time to the pit stop. If you have to change the tyres, you might as well just refuel anyway, because it doesn't make a difference if you've got to change the tyres.
So yeah, drivers are spotting that 40-minute race. On my Taco Tuesday race of the day, I elected to stay out in inverse conditions, staying on wet tyres into the dry, and I suffered greatly. I gave up what should have been P7 ended up in P10. If the drivers can play it right, they might invert that and find themselves in much higher positions than maybe their driving has warranted so far in that race.
And I think, as we discussed in the debrief afterwards, I think I listened to you. My tyres were on fire. There was no wet zone left on track. My tyres were 112 degrees. I could cook a bacon sandwich on them. They was that hot.
Who wouldn't want to cook a bacon sandwich after the race?
Well, it depends if you're hungry.
I mean, it was an hour's race. I was pretty hungry. As we sit here watching other cars have a little bit of a jig, bouncing up and down like Teletubbies.
Hopefully not breaking anything. Because obviously race cars are expensive.
They are expensive. Just try to tell Kevin Magnussen that.
Ooh. So if any of you fans at home did watch the 24-hour Nürburgring endurance race, let us know what you thought about that for the restart and the red flag. Very controversial decisions there for a bit of fog, but say 20 seconds left before we kick off our race 2 this evening for round 9, the finale. Watkins Glen.
10 seconds.
35 cars. 35 cars? 37 cars, sorry. See, 2 extra just slipped on at the end. Oh, someone didn't ready up.
Oh, that would be Filomeno.
Filomeno. Where did I get a K from? I think I need glasses.
You've clearly got flamenco on your mind. Need you a holiday?
Oh, I might do. I just come back from one. I must be due another one.
Clearly didn't hit the spot.
No, not long enough.
So as we see, Clayton retakes his pole position that he earned earlier on in the qualifying session. He'll look to try and beat off Sharp, having learned what he did last time.
Oh, that's just got even more spicy. Since we've been sitting there talking about rain and weather and tyres and bacon sandwiches and holidays, the rain forecast has jumped to rain in 10 minutes.
Oh, and rain plus in 30. So we are going to get quite the downpour, ladies and gentlemen.
So I hope all the boys have adjusted accordingly, put on their wellies, brought out the umbrellas, got the old raincoats on, because it's going to get wet around Watkins Glen.
But how have we... There's going to be a big time drop as well, because as it currently sits, we are on optimum track conditions. So depending on when the rain falls, you're going to want to stay out on these dry tyres for as long as possible. You're going to be setting fabulous lap times. The wind is low. It's as good a race conditions as you could hope for, so you're going to want to make an impact whilst you can. As we've got a few more people now joining the stream for the feature race. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you like what you hear. It's not just us, there's other racing that goes on throughout the week, whether that be F1, GT7, iRacing, you name it. FRL is the place to be for your sim racing appetites. If you are looking to join in with the fun as opposed to just watch, I'm sure an admin watching the Discord, watching the YouTube comments will be able to send you a link out. For those who are just joining, I will apologise once again for my ill health sounding voice. I am trying to battle through it and trying to give you the best commentary I can with the tools available to me.
I don't know if I feel offended or the fact you called me a tool. You've done one stream and you've got a cough and a cold already. Unbelievable.
When I'm referring to commentary tools, I'm obviously not referring to retro. He's a prop.
And so we do have Clayton coming round turn 11. Oh, as we've got M Grace just going for a massive dive through him.
So Clayton falling from the same bag of tricks that he did in the previous starts, backs them all up. He's keeping extra iron sharp this time, maybe more than he was last time. Grace is his main concern for the championship, I believe, but Sharp is there. He's taking a very high line, is Sharp. He looks to maybe slingshot past Clayton. He has already put his nose ahead.
He's got to be careful that he doesn't get a penalty for being in the wrong position on the race start.
As we are on tenterhooks, waiting for these green lights.
Green light.
And away they go. And Grace getting very aggressive off the Sharp. Yeah, gets well ahead of Sharp, but Sharp getting ultra aggressive on the rear as well. This will allow Clayton to step away momentarily, but Grace goes deep. Gets back online. Further back we've got Eden up the inside.
Gabba trying to fend him off.
So Sharp dropping back. What has Sharp done to his setup in the meantime? But further up, what? Oh, the timing screen's all over the place. Whilst it's doing that, I'm just going to.
There's a 2-car smash, 3-car smash, 4-car smash.
Sharp's been sent wide, and then rejoins safe enough.
Once again, the chicane has claimed its victims on the first lap of this second race in this finale.
So whilst we are just waiting for the timing screens to sort themselves out, I'm going to get my helicopter camera back.
So we've got Harvey involved. We've got car 74 towards the back. Coal pits. Car 6, 7, 8. Jay Prentice in the Aston Martin 945. Who is that? Hugo Knotts as well in the pits, straight away from damage. We got Flameno in the BMW, thinking a bit of a moment there. Mr. Hunt also as well in the McLaren. Was a big smash there. I just see Friedman's, Rivera and Cadwell just about narrowly avoiding. Whether that was driver error or car snap, we're not quite sure.
Yeah. Friedman on the hunt once again. He sees Rivera go wide and up the inside. Nice, easy routine one for Friedman. We've got quite a train forming off the back of pretty much basically from the lead at this point. But we've gone board with Den Brave, who is trying to battle against the Sky car of Rogers. And Brave maybe not getting the best exit. All the drivers elected to go on the marbles to try and get into some slipstream.
Oh no.
Oh, that's two cars.
And Grafe going off at the chicane. I think there was a bit of a contact there. Just space was given, but I think the bounce from the curbing just made the cars both collide. The Porsche's then gone over the grass and just straight lined it into the side of the Ferrari.
Oh, as Graf gets back on and then has a BMW behind him, who's not too happy to see him in his way. So Grace is coming back at Clayton, but then he also does have Gabor for company. Clayton, who did momentarily have nearly a 1.5 second gap, has now handed some of that back.
G. Brown just behind, fighting DeBell.
Bentley versus Bentley, we don't see it very often.
So DeBell went deep, which invited Brown on the inside, but having the outer part of the track, great exit, great drive out of turn 11 there for him.
Now Omran, seeing Brown get on the grass a little bit there, might be interested in seeing what grip he's still got left available. But behind, we've got Den Brave, yeah, weaving left and right on the back of the Sky car of Rogers. Looks to the outside, can he get this movement? He's got a car ahead of him to avoid. Does very well on the brakes, gets out on the marbles, onto the curbing.
Oh, big snap there.
Rogers does well, make sure he's plant his traction over everything else. But Den Brave's coming back again, but further behind.
Skinker and Sharp trying to re-damage control of what happened a few laps ago.
The Sharp gets pinched out from the left hand side, goes to the right. Oh, left it late to pull out of that. But while Gabor just not leaving Grace alone, making it very difficult for Grace to catch up on Clayton when he's having to defend from Gabor.
Oh, we've got Cablo going for a bit of a tap into the wall there. Hunt also having a bit of a slide, trying to avoid him. Great recovery from Hunt there. So Sprotson closing behind the Bentley. The Bentley's all over the grass here. He could have sent one through the middle, but that would have been absolutely brave as anything. Oh, we've got the Bentley just driving against the wall there. And we do have the Mercedes versus McLaren, and also a BMW of Serpentine joining this fight for P27.
Yeah, Sprotson just leading the way. Well, Hunt leading the way, sorry. There's a 4-car battle developing here. Mercedes Power versus Mercedes Power. But then with Serpentine just going a little wide there. Will that open the door to Filomeno?
So
Filomeno who's trying to get inside 1 second.
Cooters, Friedman, and I think Dial's in the middle as well. Just waiting for the timing line.
Oh, and there's the rain.
Rain. So track is still optimum at the minute.
But how soon do you go onto those wet tyres? Is anybody struggling just yet?
So quite a few dives into the pits. We're not quite sure whether that's for damage or tactical pit stop.
Now Grace and Gabor still very much involved with one another.
Oh, we've got Den Brave going for a bit of a jump and a jive over the grass there, losing a few positions out over the chicane. Keeps it fairly tidy on the rejoin.
There was someone going quite wide there at the outer loop. Den Brave showing that he very much lives up to the name. Of course, with this light rain, oh, further ahead. What was that? Was that Shinken Sharp? Look, they were side by side for a moment. That's allowed Sharp to get back up behind. Rogers looking not very comfortable at all. So as we go on board with Shinka in the Ferrari behind him, giving him all sorts of trouble, as these cars elect to stay out.
Track has now been notified as greasy, and down the start straight we've got Freeman, Horvath, Rodriguez and
Oh, I'm sorry, Retro, I'm going to interrupt you because Grace went wide at the first turn and now Gabor is right up on his gearbox. Gabor looking like he's not been told that it's raining just yet. Grace has gone defensive, he's gone on the marbles. Gabor's pulled up alongside him. Grace goes heavy into the braking, gets over the curb. Oh, Gabor's had to go and avoid, he cuts. The grass comes back on the track, he's bouncing and rejoins around about where he was at the start of the lap. A good attempt.
Has now closed the gap slightly towards the two in front, making use of them fighting it out.
So just on board with Kuz, he was showing that he was closing on Al's ahead. Look at the Ferraris in this race, just can't seem to leave each other alone.
So we do have Friedman in front once again, trying to battle this BMW of Rodriguez.
And Rodriguez get a bit of a snap over the grass, and round goes Friedman. Easy pickings. And as he uses all the track to get as good a drive as he can on Al's ahead. Porsche power and that heavy, well-weighted rear of the Porsche. Chasing down Mikkelsen. Goes a little wide, opens the door slightly, but not quite enough for Friedman.
Moment there, not quite sure whether it was G Brown on Ram Rogers or Stinker, but it says a big moment there. About 3-4 cars just on the exit of turn 10-11. So a lot of drivers are electing to pit now.
One of those being Mikkelsen, who's finally unleashed Friedman to go. Oh,
that was G Brown come smashing into the back of the car in front of him.
There's a list, lots of cars diving into the pits now. This allows Friedman to pick himself up from last place into P8, gaining a lot of positions for free. Looks like Clayton has bowed out of the leading battle, and he now, where do we find him? Clayton down in P21, just exiting the pits now. As he'll go, I'll take that one, and 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 all of these as well. It's a very lonely drive, but one he'll be happy to do as long as he gets to keep all those positions. Not so many close battles on the track at the moment, seeing as all the tight battles are in the pits.
With Flumeno in P9 and a big snap there on the outer loop. So no one really pressing him at the moment. And so just about manages to reconvene himself after giving the wall a big reassuring smash to say, look boss, I'm alright, I'm carrying on.
So, for those that are staying out, Eden, Molyneux, Grace, DeVita, Rogers, Richings, Friedman, Rodriguez, and Filomeno, you got to wonder how much time are they losing still on the dries and being out on the track.
And
Clayton
is now confirmed as damp.
And this rain is not going away anytime soon.
Not for the remainder of the session, surely.
As Eden and Molyneux now pit. And as they tootle out,
Rodriguez stays out.
Grace stays out. What about Eden? Eden, who's just pulled into their pit box. As is Molyneux. Where's Clayton? He's got a few more corners to go, but I think he's going to have quite the advantage here.
There is a car coming out of the pits. Car 71. There's a back marker, I believe. Car 71 is Van der Waal, 28.
I believe that's Clayton just gone through. It is the Clayton with an absolute enormous lead now. His competitors, Eden and Molyneux, nowhere to be seen. Grace is still out there though. So with Clayton coming up to the chicane and Grace coming around the heel, he might have a slightly better chance of staying ahead, but he looks like he's struggling a fair bit. Yeah, I think this should be an easy pickings for Clayton now. He's already back in P3. We don't have a delta for him yet, but I suspect it's going to be greater than 30 seconds. For those who try to gamble with the wet weather tyres and not put them on until the last second, I don't think they've been rewarded. So as Grace now pits, still pulling into his pit box. We've got Clayton coming around the heel.
It's interesting waiting to the pit box. I've not seen someone be that tight towards the boxes before. And so we do have Clayton come around the second to last corner as Grace has only just stopped in his box.
And I think this is going to be an easy pass for Clayton. So Clayton is going to come up here and he's going to take an absolutely commanding lead. He's going to get to run away for approximately about 20 seconds here.
And so his wet tyres are already going to be a lot more warmer than Grace's.
But what about Grace in relation to Gabor? Where's Gabor right now?
Gabor is in the S's of Sector 1.
So yeah, looks like Grace has really
hurt himself by staying out.
He's even about to get overtaken by Friedman as he exits. as we wait for the timing screens to correct themselves. I think he has rejoined in P5. It'll be in P9 as it stands. He'll have great pace now, but a lot of work to do. So now they go about passing the back marker that's there. And that's number 33. If I've read that right on the side of his car.
Yeah. 33 is Volton in the blue Ferrari. Number 33 just letting a bit of lapped traffic through.
Well, I can't help but notice Rodriguez is 26 seconds ahead of Clayton. Has he pitted?
I'm not quite sure.
That is quite the gap, considering how much time Grace and Sharp lost. Rodriguez leading out ahead, so unless he was the first driver on the wets, I'm not quite sure how he's made up this time. As we're going to watch his delta times come in here to see exactly how far ahead of Clayton that he is. I'm not sure quite how he's managed this tactical blinder.
So Clayton is only just coming around the top of the S's just before the chicane. He's a little bit way off the chicane yet. <coughs> 24 seconds.
So it seems there's about a pit stop in it, but we'll keep tabs on how
maybe
quick fast this
Clayton had
was.
damage.
Maybe. Which goes to show how much better his pit strategy was. If he was managing damage, he still managed to get out significantly ahead of those he was fighting against.
So 24 seconds was the gap as he's going to come to the second timeline. 22 seconds now. So he's definitely catching in that sector. It was 24, it's now 22.3. So he's definitely catching the car in front.
But he's got 22 seconds to catch in 22 minutes. So he needs approximately 2 seconds a lap, give or take, to catch up and pass Rodriguez. But we've been picking up De Vita chasing Mulnix to the P4 position. These are still very important points, even though they are substantially behind Clayton.
We've got 3 minutes behind Rogers.
Friedman, who's clearly also played a very good tactical game here, getting on the wet tyres at the right time. It's closing up to the Sky Ferrari of Rogers. Oh, he gives him a little shunt to the rear as he tries to cut out from underneath him down the straight. Slams on the brakes, goes very tight, lets Rogers go all the way to the rumple, and he'll go, "Thank you, I'll have the asphalt."
The gap to Clayton and Rodriguez is 19 seconds now. Oh, we've got M. Roberts in the yellow McLaren, facing the wrong way, just in the outer loop. Seems to have picked himself back up.
As we pick up Eden on the inside of Mickelson, going up through the S's. They do touch before turning left.
There was a wall.
Oh, and then a car. And then marbles. And then another car. It does look like Mickelson is going to get dived through here. Oh, they do get a little bit of a touch. And then another tap as Mickelson rear ends Eden. And that just invites Cooters into the mix.
But the gap from Clayton to Rodriguez is now just under 19 seconds. So he's catching him sector after sector. He's dropping a second a sector.
And Friedman now only 3 seconds down on De Vita, looking very comfortable. Especially with De Vita wanting Mulnix in his sights more often than not. think they do have a back marker between them.
Clayton just crossed the timing line down the start straight. 16.3 seconds now. In just a few laps, he's taken 8 seconds out of the gap to Rodriguez, so I think he might have this in the bag for catching him up.
But Gabor, crucially, is actually not that far behind Clayton. It's only 2 seconds. If Clayton catches up to Rodriguez and has any trouble whatsoever, look, you can see him, he's right there. So it's not all plain sailing for Clayton just getting to put qualifying lap after qualifying lap until he catches Rodriguez. He does have to keep an eye on Gabor, which is going to distract him from his task of catching Rodriguez. As we pick up Skinker, catching Grace, who's fallen from Grace just that little bit in his title fight. He's allowed those who he's fighting to get away from him through nothing other than pit stop calamity.
Back of the Porsche is absolutely battered. They're just trying to damage prevent anything else that he can. So pit strategy didn't quite work for him. He stayed out, and it hurt his time massively there.
As it picks up this all green Bentley of Del Burl, catching Sharp and Rogers. Rogers very much looking like the cork in the bottle before anybody's allowed any sort of shot at Friedman.
So we do have Roberts in the middle of that yellow McLaren, a back marker there.
Sharp very, very, very close on the back of Rogers now. He's closing him in every braking zone. Rogers just not looking comfortable. As Rogers goes a little bit defensive, picks up a slipstream from the back marker. Not sure if that was necessary in these conditions. And that allows Sharp to close even more. Both drivers electing for the rumble strips, but it does look like Sharp has ridden them better. He now picks up the slipstream from Rogers. Goes up the hill, up the S's. Try and keep your car out of the valley. We know it's slippy right now. You've got to do your absolute best to manage your car through there.
Interesting to see there. I think it was Mickelson in P19 and Omran in P20 down the start straight. They was fighting for position, and one of the, I think it was Mickelson, just moved out of the way, just to let him past.
They must have confused him for another car. Grace now on the back of Skinker. Grace sat in P11 at the moment, choosing a tight line while Skinker chooses a wide one, both looking equally as useful.
I'm going to interrupt you there, buddy. Gabba has closed the gap to Clayton, so just 1.2 seconds, and Clayton is only 7 seconds behind Rodriguez. If he just comes around this final corner, on the camera that I've got, you can just about see Rodriguez just in the distance there, so he is catching him ever so slightly.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance now that Clayton doesn't catch Rodriguez before the end. But what will he get past first? Will he get past Rodriguez first, or is he going to have to defend from Gabor? As soon as Gabor is now down to only 7/10 of a second.
You see he made up half a second in that sector just to prove that his tyres on these wet compounds are coming alive. So the track is damp, it's wet, it's horrible, and so they're on the wet tyres for a reason. So not the strategy that some drivers might have wanted or hurt or tried to nail from the start.
Well, sorry, so I'm now on board with Sharp. He's now down to only a quarter of a second on Rogers. Rogers, who has been very much corking the boat, but now it looks like DeBerry is going to get involved as well. DeBerry in the Bentley with so much drive. Looks like he's going to take Sharp here before Sharp actually gets a chance at Rogers, but no, he backs out. DeBerry thinks better of it. He thinks my Bentley's not that nimble. That's not where I'm going to get him. So Gabor now holding the 7/10 gap to Clayton. He's going to wait to see if he's just gets given free time as he catches Rodriguez. But oh my god, he's so close. It's further back, 19 seconds
to play
down.
for. I'm going to interrupt you there. So just notice Friedman has just slipped past DeVita there to release him into P4 to chase down this top 3.
So Friedman is trying to pull off the impossible. I think 20 seconds on the speed that the guys ahead are doing, I think is quite the task. But with Rodriguez dropping positions, I think a podium could be on from here. But now Clayton finds himself half a second down on Rodriguez. Rodriguez, who goes deep, doesn't look like he wants any part of it, and that allows both through.
As much as I would have seen a closer and fairer fight, I think Rodriguez just had to do the best he could there. He ran deep into turn 1 and just tried to keep it clean as he could without affecting the drivers behind.
But now Gabor, so it's only a couple of car lengths between the two leaders now. Gabor looking as assured as Clayton has been. It does look like Gabor just has it in the bag in terms of tyre control. And down into the boot we go.
Runs a bit deep there, leaving the door open for Gabor. I say Clayton then fends off very well. Gabor gets a bit of a bump into the toe uphill right-hander. So Clayton fending off that inside line very nicely there.
And now we've actually got a reference point between Rodriguez and Friedman. We can now see it's gone down from 19 seconds to 17 seconds. Other battles going down the field is Owls having a big look at Skinker there. But then Skinker just getting away under traction.
So just in front we do have Sharp and DeBell in the Bentley. I think DeBell did get a great drive out of toe uphill right-hander, but into hill Sharp seems to be getting a great drive out of there to close the gap.
Roger's doing a great job just to keep his nose clean of all of this. I don't think he's got quite the pace to be fighting these guys one-on-one, but he's doing a great job just to let them fight themselves. Meanwhile, two of the faster guys in the league, Brown and Grace, finding themselves in unfamiliar territory down the middle of the pack. 13th and 12th are their positions. Following closely behind the Roger De Burley, Sharp and Owls fight. It's all very, very tight in the mid-pack.
All very tight. Oh, we needed a lunge there from Gabor in the inner loop. So now the outer loop, he's practically on the back bumper of the Ferrari of Clayton. He's going to try to send a move around the outside here. Going to go for
does they touch?
A bit of a tap there.
Stops Clayton from committing too much to his deep and out wide line.
So Rodriguez is 8 seconds off them. Friedman is now 10 seconds off the leader.
He'll have 10 seconds to catch, 1 second a minute to catch. It's about 2 seconds a lap. But I think this is still a good result for Rodriguez. He's tried an alternate strategy. He's going to come out with a top 5 finish, I think. We stay on board with this fight for the lead. Clayton just starting to find a bit of confidence now. Gabor's done his job. He's told him that he's there. Now he's just got to find the right opportunity. He's got 11 minutes to do it. Doesn't need to rush it.
Friedman's just coming across the start line now. 6 seconds to the gap in front.
Yeah, Friedman does seem to be on every bit the pace that Clayton and Gabor are. He's just doing it in respect to Rodriguez, and that time's coming down rapidly. Further down the field, though, we've got Brown making a dive on Grace. Great move. We just turned up at the right time. But then Grace flicks back to the inside. He's going to try and outrun the Bentley, which I don't think is going to end well for him. He's going to have to hope for traction and traction alone. But then Owls fancies to go here. He goes to the outside of Grace. So wait for the track to open up again. And here he goes. Yeah, he's alongside. Has Grace seen him? Yes, he has. Grace goes to the wet part of the track. And he's lost 2 positions in the space of 1 sector. Grace looking like he's struggling. A lot more sparse further down the field, so we're going to stay on board with what's going up at the pointy end of it. This battle for the lead is hotting up. As the time ticks away, the pressure is going to start piling on Gabor to do something. As the time ticks on, the more reassured Clayton's going to be. But then Gabor goes wide, costs himself time. And then shaky again as he dusts off his tyres.
So he did very well to keep his foot in there, not lose the car around that corner.
How does he do with traction here? Perfectly equal to Clayton there.
Well, I think we missed it. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but Friedman has now overtaken Rodriguez, so he's into the top 3. Yeah,
Friedman already has a 2.5 second gap. Great drive from Friedman, but I think that's all she wrote for this evening. Well done, Friedman.
Ooh, Gabor. Ooh. Nearly pushing that Ferrari into chicane there. Very great bit of driving there early on the brakes to avoid the Ferrari of Clayton. McClayton have a bit of a slip and a slide on the outer loop. Down into chute.
Gabor just wants to risk not overdriving here if he wants to get Clayton. You wear your tyres out a lot. I know they're getting cooled down constantly by the rain, but you can overheat these tyres, something nasty. Clayton just doing all the early defending. Defending's not all wheel to wheel staying with. Some defending is just done early in the corner, and you can do a lot of stuff just to put your opponent off and stop and make your car very unattractive to try and overtake. Just like that, he opened the door momentarily and then took the apex, as he was always planning to. But Gabor looks like he's relatively wise to it, but then goes wide again. Carries the speed. Looks like he's taking a bit of advantage from going off track there. Dips into the slipstream. Traction seems to be his friend. He's closing. He backs off and he's going to aim for the exit here. I think he knows his best chance at overtaking Clayton is up the back straight. But I think he has to respect Clayton's exit there. He's done well. But he's coming again. As the slipstream gets stronger and stronger as the speed rises. But Gabor just can't seem to take advantage of it. Both drivers being so composed over these wet curbs as the race goes on. Further back we've got Den Brave looking for a move on Skinker. But he's got Eden for company. Eden, who looks like they're going to attempt to move into the chicane if he can keep this traction going. But can De Brave get away from him first?
So another little juicy battle just hotting up behind. We've got Horvath, Couters and Omram. So P17, P18, P19 fight down that same back straight.
So as we reach the last 6 minutes of the race, it's just absolutely flown by. Let us know if you've enjoyed your time. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let us know if you want to join in with the action. I'm sure we still have spaces available for next season. Come and join the action. I'm sure an admin can send you a Discord link. Just put your name down in the comments. I'm sure we'd love to have you.
So I see Gabor still hanging on to the back of Clayton.
Oof. It's quite late on the brakes there. Does just fine onto the curb, but I think Clayton gets away cleaner. It's such a technical driving on display here. But it does look like Gabor gets through the S's a little bit better. As drivers still electing to cool their tyres off over the marbles. Oh, as Gabor gets really heavy on the curb, gets a bit of a slide out. But that seems to do nothing but bring him closer to Clayton. That's great driving. Rodriguez, having put up such a great fight early on, looking like he might hold on to something. Now down in P8. Getting chased down by Rogers. Rogers, who, has passed, we're just waiting for the time screen to update. Further ahead, the Bentley of Beale chasing down Mulnix with Sharp close behind. This 3-car battle fighting over P5. It's a great one to watch. The Bentley's in a bit of a Ferrari sandwich. Just can't seem to escape.
Well, yeah, it's not a sandwich I want to be a part of. Being in a Ferrari sandwich, being a Ferrari driver, it's not a pleasant place
Oh,
to
but
be.
look at De Boer. De Boer to back off slightly off the rear of Clayton there. But if he can set up this exit onto the pit straight, he might be onto something. He's straightened up well. As Clayton taps the wall.
Very close to the wall.
Here comes Gabor. He's in the slipstream. Clayton goes very defensive. Gabor goes to the outside. And round. Oh, a touch. I don't think there was anything wrong with what Gabor did there. I think Clayton just locked up a little bit. He might get away here, but where's Friedman? Friedman's not too far away. Ever the hunter is Friedman. But no, it looks like he's got away. We'll wait to see the gap update. So they're on the same straight now, but I don't think Friedman is going to have time to catch him on real pace. But Gabor now scampering away what looked like with a hard fought until the very end is now well within his grasp. It's a shame that battle broke down in that way, but I don't think Gabor did anything wrong.
Yeah,
what do you think, Retro?
8 seconds to Freeman for Clayton, say Clayton, 8 seconds to Gabor. So, unfortunately, these things happen. That's why we go motor racing, Michael. But say, it's just these things happen. So, just Clayton put an absolute stellar performance this whole race. Great strategy in the pits. So, unfortunately, what it boils down to towards the end, it's a little tap like that can ruin your race. But he's still provisionally got fastest lap, so he just needs to keep his head down his last couple of minutes and just get the car home.
G Brown navigates some lapping traffic. De Boer still in the fight for P5. He's got Mulnix, who's been very stubbornly in that position for a long time. With Sharp at the rear end of this. We've got Cooters chasing down Richings into the heel. Cooters looking very, very confident on these tyres. He's pulled almost alongside, coming up the hill to turn 13. Mr. Kyle Hunter's joined us. Thank you, buddy.
Quite a few cars in the pits towards the end. So we have Q Roberts in the pits, and we have 113 Rivera also in the pits as well. And maybe they're just early retirees. So just under 60 seconds left of this race.
We're not at the final lap just yet, but I reckon it will come after this one. But Gabor letting a little bit of time go, but nothing too dramatic. I think he'll see this out fairly easily. But I think De Boer has finally given up that position to Sharp. He's down in P7 now. Sharp can now go chasing down Mulnix. He might get everything he wanted at the very end. Rodriguez in the green BMW slipping even further down now. P14, the once leader of this race. I can only presume he's still on dry tyres.
That would be sensational if he was on dry tyres. So I think there we have it. Gabor is going to cross the line to start the final.
No, it's finished. That's it. That's done.
Oh, finished. I thought it said started.
And then followed by Clayton, Friedman. We'll go on board with the battles that are coming towards the line. We've got Mulnix being chased down by Sharp. So unless there's a huge mistake to these final corners, Sharp is closing.
Sharp's got a great drive there.
Throws it down the inside. Edges Mulnix out. What a move!
Oh, he's not happy about that. He's flashing him. He's not happy, but look, there's a Bentley going to hit him.
Oh, the Bentley gets him and taps him into the wall at the end. Mulnix will not be happy. There'll be a report in there, I'm sure of it.
4 thousandths of a second towards the line, but did he gain that time because he was hitting him across the line?
So we've got Cooters chasing Richings the line. Cooters pulls out, hopes for a slipstream. Doesn't quite get it done. Further back, any other battles? Closest battle we've got left is...
We've got Graf and Rivera, P28 and P29, coming around turn 11. Oh, Rivera getting a big snap there, trying to chase down.
I've got Rivera in the pits.
Oh. There's a BMW in front of him. Never mind. Oh, Heyman's. The timing screen went a little bit funny there for some reason. So you've got Heyman's and Graf towards the finish line there.
I think to round us...
just come around the final corner.
And congratulations to those who've had success this evening. It's like Prentice hasn't had too much success, though he was vying for things in his tier. As we catch a few of the drivers doing donuts. There's Den Brave over the general trail sign on the track with a few donuts. Turn down your TC and get some rubber down. Anybody else? There's everybody. Lex returns to the pits.
Very interesting to see after the points have been tallied up and added up and counted twice and checked twice to see who did win what. As I know there was quite a few big battles across all 3 tiers. We know Friedman had won the pro tier. The fight obviously between Clayton and... Oh, I'm going to jinx myself here because I've gone blank. So yeah, in the Pro Championship, Grace and Clayton for P2 with 3 points in it. So if Grace finished above Clayton, then he could have swiped P2.
Yeah. So all penalties and points permitting.
So Luke Prentice, Mashurat, Sharp and Horvath on 9 points apart, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. In silver, Diaz leads yours truly by 3 points. Both with drop rounds, Richlings and Milnix can win. Both require double DNS from Els and Brown, which obviously didn't happen. So Richlings, Milnix, Graf separated by 10 points for 3rd. In Am, Davita has a 22 point lead to Den Brave. Mathvathny, Volton can win too, 47 points further back. Rogers and Serfontaine are separated by a point for 6th. So I think that rounds out. Davita has won the Am Championship, so congratulations to Davita. Sterling performance there in your Porsche, your green Porsche by the way. Multiple green cars on the circuit. So big congratulations to Friedman for the Pro, and we will find out who did win the silver, but obviously we will have to wait for stewarding to get involved and do what they need to do. But say we are the 2 commentators for our Sunday. I hope you have loved us for these 2 races, these 2 final races of the season, and hopefully we can bring you great commentary on a Sunday.
Yeah. Sign-ups are open for the next season, so sign up if you're in this league, look to continue on, and we'll be joining you hopefully from the start of next season. If you're going to leave a review, make sure it's fair and kind. And yeah, like I said, if you like what you've heard this evening, albeit with my croaky voice, make sure you like, subscribe, and share along with your friends. Maybe consider following the channel for not just ACC but other racing games as well. We race almost every single day of the week, so yeah, join in with the fun, and we'll see you all on the next one. Well, good evening, guys. Bye.
Yeah, take care, folks. Good night.